Welcome to the SAAFF Chronicles, the 8th episode series about all things freight and logistics. I'm your host, Jacob van Rensburg, Head of Research and Development at SAAFF. Today, I want to update you on the latest weekly cargo movement report, your reliable source for insights and updates across the South African and global logistics networks. In the 203rd edition of the report, dated 13 September, we examined, among many other things, consolidated port throughput volumes for August, which makes for some encouraging reading. Containers increased by a substantial 14% month on month, with solid increases from Durban, also up by 14%, which was partly due to the strong citrus export. Our Eastern Cape ports, East London and Port Elizabeth, were both up by more than 30% versus July. Across the board, the increases in the containerized space in August are almost exclusively due to exports at 29%. Now, in the bulk sectors, on the other hand, these numbers were primarily similar to July. In August, Transnet handled 16.8 million metric tons of bulk cargo, up by 221,000 tons from last month, but around 8% below the average handled monthly volumes since the start of 2019. Now, cyclically, August is typically a strong month for Transnet and the port's economy and puts the monthly increases into perspective, as containerized throughput is down by 7% year on year and down by 14% compared to pre-pandemic 2019. For the bulk industries, dry bulk cargo is down by the same magnitude annually and pre-pandemic times at 11%, and liquid bulk is above last year's level at 4%, but also down versus pre-pandemic 2019 at 7%. Bulk cargo, on the other hand, in the break bulk form, is down versus last year at 21%, but up versus 2019 at 2%. Whereas lastly, vehicles trade is down by 12% year on year and slightly down versus 2019 at about 2%. So overall, the numbers posted showed a monthly improvement, but not quite reaching last year's levels. Besides the fact that Transnet posted a 7.3 billion rand loss for the financial year some 2 weeks ago, the results of Transnet also highlighted the fact that the SOE missed the budgeted operational throughput targets across the board. These include rail at minus 1.7%, containers at minus 1.8%, petroleum at minus 3.7%, and vehicles at minus 5.1%. Now, these numbers, together with the dire financial state of Transnet, highlight the absolute need to generate revenue from increased operations in the near future. Fortunately, in the bulk sectors, looking back to the start of 2022, there has been a stabilization of around 17.5 million metric tons of bulk cargo handled monthly. This figure is around 8% below the average handled during 2016, which was the record year based on the demonstrated throughput that our ports have ever handled. Despite the somewhat depressing numbers, it is not all doom and gloom. While cargo volumes have continued declining in the last couple of years, over the most recent months, the extended transport, logistics, and trade industries have at least successfully stabilized operations, effectively arresting the downward trend. Although not exactly exhilarating news, this is a critical step in ensuring the logistics chain remains functional amidst ongoing challenges. However, as we build on the stabilization of short-term operations, substantial reforms are needed to drive further improvements in the port and rail sectors. Critical areas for focus include optimizing the modal split by increasing the share of rail freight, securing critical infrastructures against vandalism, and of course, improving port efficiencies to remain competitive against growing regional hubs like Maputo and Walvis Bay. These reforms are essential to addressing inefficiencies and unlocking growth. Crucially, none of these objectives can be achieved without robust collaboration across all stakeholders, a critical matter that the National Logistics Crisis Committee, the NLCC, is tasked with. SAAFF will keep you posted on these developments. That's it for this week. Stay connected, stay informed, and keep your business moving forward with insights from our Cargo Movement Report. Join us next week for more updates. And lastly, let's keep our logistics network intact. This is your host, signing off.